everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's lesson, we're going to discuss atoms. Remember what's an atom again? It's the smallest building block of all matter. So I want you to see an atom as one building block. Remember, if we want to build a house at the end of the day, we need to put more than one block together. So that's what atoms is. If we want to build an element, if we want to build compounds, it's more than one atom that needs to come together. So each block, each atom looks like this. So each atom is made up of three subatomic particles. It's made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. Our protons always carries a positive charge located in the nucleus. The nucleus is always in the middle. Here you can see we have our protons carrying a positive charge. We also have our neutrons carrying no charge, meaning they are neutral, and they are also located in the nucleus. You can see these green particles. They are also in the nucleus in the middle of the atom together with the protons. And then we have our electrons. Electrons carries a negative charge and they are located around the nucleus. We will learn further in the lesson that these electrons exist in different energy levels around the nucleus. But for now, just remember each atom, meaning each Lego block. This is how it looks like, and it's made up of three subatomic particles, the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons. Then once again, the structure of an atom, we know we have our nucleus in the middle that contains the protons and the neutrons, and then around the nucleus in the energy levels, we get our electrons. But something you must always remember is that an atom is neutrally charged. So atoms don't carry any charge. They are neutrally charged. But what does it mean when something is neutrally charged? The number of protons is equal to the number of electrons. So here you can see this is an atom, and then there's three protons in the middle and there's three electrons. So if the number of protons is equal to the number of electrons, they are neutrally charged and we are talking about an atom. Then something important to remember is that each element on the periodic table is made up of specific atoms. So let's say the lithium element. Lithium element is made up of lithium atoms. Same for magnesium element is made up of magnesium atoms. Same for hydrogen, same for helium, same for all of them. But then they can ask you to draw an atom. So let's say they ask you to draw a lithium atom. Where am I going to get my information from? To know what's the number of protons, what's the number of neutrons, and then what's the number of electrons that this lithium atom is going to have. Remember, to draw an atom, all your information is already on your periodic table. You just need to know your periodic table and how to interpret the data given. So then, as you can see, this block represents our lithium element. Then you will see there's a top number and a bottom number. The smaller number between the two always represents your atomic number with the symbol of Z. And then your larger number represents your relative atomic mass, which is A. Then, how am I going to know how many protons does a lithium atom have? Then your number of protons is always equal to your atomic number. So therefore, the number of protons that your lithium atom is going to have is 3 protons. Then your neutrons, you always take your relative atomic mass minus your atomic number. So for this example, you will take your relative atomic mass as 7, you round off. So then you're going to take 7 minus 3, and then you're going to end up with 4 neutrons. And then the number of electrons, remember an atom is neutrally charged, so number of electrons is equal to number of protons, and we know that the number of protons is indicated by the atomic number, so therefore your electrons will also be 3. Then if we need to draw an atom, let's say we need to draw a lithium atom, where are we going to get the information from to draw this atom? Remember, the lithium element is made up of lithium atoms. So on the lithium element on the periodic table, we get all the necessary information from. So the protons is indicated by the atomic number of lithium. So number of protons is 3. The neutrons, we're going to take the relative atomic mass or the rounded off
relative atomic mass minus the atomic number, so we end up with 4 neutrons. And then our electrons, remember an atom is neutrally charged, so the number of electrons is always equal to the number of protons, therefore we have 3 electrons. But now we have to draw. Remember, in the middle, in the nucleus, you always get the protons and the neutrons, so there's 3 protons and then 4 neutrons, therefore there's 4 green circles. And then our electrons, there are 3 and they are in our energy levels around the nucleus. Always remember that your first energy level, the energy level closest to the nucleus, can always take or can only take 2 electrons. Therefore, we draw 2 electrons in the inner energy level, and then your second energy level can take up to 8 electrons. But because we only have a total of 3 electrons and 2 of them is already in the first energy level, there's only 1 left, and that's why our second energy level only has 1 electron.